eternity with him. And I listen to that and I go, oh man, are you kidding me? Like the God of the universe, like right now, he would accept me. He knows. I mean, no one else knows what I've done, but he knows, and he'll accept me right now. And he paid the price for me, and he wants to know me. He wants a relationship. See, I go, man, when I heard that, I go, okay, where do I sign up? What do I do? I'll do anything. This is a little bigger than everything else in my life. But others of you, I'll tell you all of that, and you'll shrug your shoulders and go, yeah, I don't know right now. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can be friends. I don't know. I guess that's okay. And I'm just going, oh man, I wish. And I know many of us share that frustration. You have people you love, and you go, man, I want you to fall in love with this God like I have, because he really changes everything. It's not something I'm making up in my mind. It's not just some crutch that I need to get through life. Like, he is real. He's absolutely real as you are before me. He's so real. And so it frustrates me every Easter, because I want to tell you about this God that I love so much and tell you I know he's real. And he's right there waiting, and he is better than anything you've got going on in your life. And that's the hard part. You know, I talked earlier about how people can envy us down here. And the truth is Jesus says a very interesting thing. When Jesus walked the earth, he said, blessed are the poor. But then he would look at the rich. He would look at us, and he would say, the rich, you're at a serious disadvantage. He says it's going to be very difficult for the rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. You see, because when I was walking around the slums in Mumbai, and I'm telling people, hey, God offers you something better, they're like, where do I say? Of course. Couldn't get any worse. But then I come to places like this, I go, hey, God offers you something better. And you start weighing out what you've got. You go, are you sure? I don't know. Because it's not something, you know, this is the thing, he's not something you just add to your life. That's not the way he spoke here. When he talked in the Bible, he says, look, you got to understand how great I am. You got to be willing to ditch everything for me, because I, God, think I am that great. It's like this. I want to share the dumbest thing I ever did as a pastor. I'm pretty sure it's the dumbest. 16 years as the pastor, stupidest thing I did. I came to church one Sunday, and I brought this little balloon about the size of my fist, and I taped it to the wall, probably like where that colorful thing is, and I taped the balloon there, and I brought a BB gun, and I said, hey, you know, I'm pretty good with this thing. You know, how many of you guys believe I can hit that balloon on the very first shot? And about 80% of the people raised their hand. Well, thank you. You know, 80%, so you could do it, you could do it. I go, okay, so you guys all believe I can do it? They're like, yeah, you know, everyone's screaming, and I'm like, okay, how many of you are willing to hold it in your hand? And there were still like 20 people with their hands up. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good, that's pretty good. I said, okay, but I gotta know, how many are so sure that you would stick the balloon between your teeth and let me shoot it? And this one guy still had his hand up. And I was hoping someone would be dumb enough, okay? And so I had like a medical release form and, you know, a release of liability form, and I had him come up because I just wanted to freak him out, you know, because it was kind of like playing chicken at this point. And I go, well, come on up here, guy, you know, and he comes up to the stage. I go, you have to sign this first because I am not liable for anything. And he signs this piece of paper, and I go, okay, go over there, get the balloon, stick it between your teeth. Not thinking he would do it. And he goes over there, just sticks it between his teeth, and goes, this little balloon in his mouth. And so I thought, I'm going to freak him out and lift the gun up. So I lift the gun up, and he's just standing there. And I'm like this, you know, pointed at him, and then the stupidest thought went through my head. I thought, I could hit this. I mean, what am I thinking? I'm in the circus or something? I'm just like, I know I can hit it, and I pulled the trigger, and I got the balloon. And I thought the whole crowd would go nuts. But everyone's just like, this look of disgust, like, what are you, 12? You know? And attorneys in our church came up afterwards and said, you better not do that at the next service or the next one or the next. I go, look, I promise I won't do that again. I had to apologize to the whole church. I mean, but it was a good illustration, okay? Because think about my point. My point at the end was like, okay, so how many believers were in the room? Was it the 80% that raised their hand? I mean, what does it mean to believe? Would you say those 80% were believers? Or would you say it was the 20% or the 20 people that raised their hand that would have held it out? Or was it just the one guy who was the real believer because he was willing to stick it between his teeth? You see, when Jesus taught, we'll say verses like, oh, God so loved the world. I don't want to say sarcastic. I mean, a great verse, John 3:16. For God so loved the world. He so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. And the Bible says that whoever believes in his Son, Jesus, would not perish. They won't die, but they'll have eternal life. I mean, do you believe that verse? That whoever believes in him will have. But what does it mean to believe? Does it mean you raise your hand at some point going, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did it? That's not the way Jesus taught. He says, no, you got to stick this thing between your teeth. Is how sure are you? You ready to deny yourself? You ready to ditch everything? Pick up a cross and follow me? Like if Jesus was here, see, I get excited about crowds. You get excited about crowds. You go, oh, look at all these people. That's awesome, a crowd. Jesus never got excited about crowds. When I studied one Easter, because I was stressing out, because you always stress out as a pastor on Easter, and I'm going, oh, what am I going to say? Maybe I can give the right message, and people will come twice a year, you know, and I'm like, and so you just bring it on yourself, like, I can do it, I'm going to do this killer sermon, everything else, and I just started to study. I go, what did Jesus do when the crowds came? Did he get all nervous? Did he freak out? And Jesus, when he was in front of a crowd, he would get skeptical. And he would say, I don't know if you guys should all be here. He says, do you know what it means to follow me? It says in Luke 14, he says, there's these crowds, and they all came to listen to him. And he just looks at them and he goes, are you willing to deny your father, your mother, your wife, your kids? I mean, are you ready to lose your own life to follow him? Do you understand who's standing before you, Jesus? Like if you get this, he says the person who gets it, he's like a person who finds a treasure buried in a field, and he realizes how valuable that treasure is, and it says with great joy he runs and he sells everything he has so he can buy that field. He goes, that's the person who gets me. That's the person who gets what we're talking about, the kingdom of heaven. You see a treasure so great, you're like, okay, whatever, take everything I own, but I gotta have that field. Give me that field. Take everything I possess. Give me that field. I gotta have it. I'm obsessed with it. He goes, okay, that's a person that gets it. That's a person that understands heaven. That's a person that understands God. It's not the person that goes, okay, let me see. So you're saying I could have God, but does that mean I have to lose my girlfriend? Does it mean? And you just start weighing, is he worth it? Is he worth it? Is he worth it? He goes, no, the person who gets it goes, no, I'll stick this thing between my teeth. I'll lose whatever. I'll lose my life because I believe I just found it. And everything is in Jesus. And so my question to you again is, do you believe? Do you really believe that he's worth everything? Do you really believe you can be forgiven of everything and begin a relationship with him? Do you believe anyone can? I mean, how many right here would say, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God and he died on the cross for my sins? Just raise your hand. Right on. Good, good, good. Now you believe he rose again. Okay, good, good. Same hands, I hope. Okay. And it's but let me okay, so you believe John 3:16, right? Whoever believes gets to go to heaven. Did you know that Jesus also uses that phrase, whoever believes, in John 14? Because in John 14, listen to this. Jesus used the same phrase. John 14, verse 12. He says, truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do. And greater works than these will he do, because I'm going to the Father. Do you believe that also? See, some of us will say, yeah, I believe that if I believe I'll go to heaven. But Jesus, okay, if you believe, you'll be able to do the same things that I did, and even greater things than these will you do. See, we're here on Easter to celebrate the power of the resurrection, right? And the power of Jesus, where we read his miracles and go, no way, that's amazing. And yet Jesus, well, whoever believes in me, whoever believes in me, just like whoever believes goes to heaven, whoever believes will have this power to do things that I did. You'll start living the way I lived, loving the way I loved, and you'll be able to do even greater things than these.